Chosen one, the truth is not what you think. It's far more disturbing, more urgent, more spiritually violent than anything you've ever imagined. God just showed me a vision, so heavy, so intense. I almost couldn't speak, but the Spirit of God said, "Tell them now." So here I am, speaking directly to you. I'm not here to accuse you or anyone. I'm here to stand with you as a servant, to help you discern, heal, and step into freedom. Behind everything you're facing, every unanswered prayer, every delay, every crushing disappointment, there is a war being waged. This is a real war. It's not coming. It's already here. You've felt it. The storm in your spirit, the weight you can't explain, the battles no one else sees. You pray, but it feels like the heavens are silent. You fight, but it's like the enemy already knows your next move. That's because he does. You are known in the spirit realm. Hell has your name on file, not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. You carry a light they cannot put out. You carry a destiny they cannot cancel. The enemy has fought you so hard not because you're nothing, but because you're everything to the kingdom. You are not alone. Across nations, a remnant is awakening, and you are part of it. But here's what hell doesn't want you to hear. God is about to flip the script. This is a kairos moment, heaven's timing meeting your obedience. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." And today, that word is being activated over your life. The lies, they stop here. The confusion, it ends now. The delay, God is turning it into divine acceleration. In this message, expect 3 gifts to be awakened in you: clarity to see through lies, purpose to walk in your assignment, and power to stand and advance. I'll show you how in a moment, and we'll activate it in prayer at the end. If this message is stirring something in your spirit, if you feel a fire rising inside you, that's not emotion. That's confirmation. Heaven is speaking, and this moment is sacred. This isn't hype. It's an invitation to holy clarity. If you need to respond right now, do it by staying. Your strongest amen will be at the end when we pray. Now, if you know this was for you, type amen below if you're ready to stand, fight, and walk in your God-given authority. It's your yes to the calling. Don't scroll, don't hesitate. This is your moment. Stay with me until the end, because we're about to pray a breakthrough prayer that will shake the atmosphere around you. Get ready. Everything is about to change. The truth about your pain, your delays, your silent prayers, it's not what you think. It never was. The suffering you've endured, the years you've spent feeling stuck, silenced, forgotten, that wasn't because God turned his face away. It's because the enemy saw something in you long before you ever did. He saw the fire, he saw the assignment, he saw the potential, and he panicked. This battle you've been fighting, it didn't start last year or the year before. It started before you were born. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Heaven wrote a purpose into your life before you ever drew breath. And hell has been working overtime to keep you from discovering it. That's why everything's been so hard. That's why the breakthrough has taken so long. Because the enemy never feared your weakness. He feared the moment you'd finally wake up and realize you're not weak at all. You're chosen. And if you're still watching this, it's because something in your spirit recognizes truth when it hears it. You've wondered for years, why do the wicked prosper while the righteous suffer? Why do my prayers feel like whispers into a void? Why does it feel like the heavens are silent while my life is screaming? It's because you've been fed lies. Not by accident, by design. You were told that your suffering was holy, that your poverty was piety, that your silence was submission. But those were not God's words. They were strategies of control, tactics meant to shrink you, voices meant to drown out your roar. There are shepherds who never planned to lead you, only to feed off you. Prophets who never listened to God, only to the market. Teachers who sold hope as a product and turned your desperation into their empire. They taught you to bow, but not how to rise. They taught you to give, but never how to build. They convinced you that God wanted you broken because it was easier to control you that way. But the real danger, the most destructive lie, wasn't the one that told you to quit. It was the one that told you this was normal, that God wanted you in chains. No, friend, he didn't. Jesus said in John 10:10, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Not half, not in pieces, full. The chains around your mind, your finances, your calling, they were forged in lies and handed to you with a smile. And because they looked holy, you wore them like robes. But they were never yours to carry. You've been walking unfamiliar roads. You've been fighting invisible wars. You've been sensing that something about this world is wrong, and you're not crazy. That sensitivity, that ache, that longing, it's proof. It's evidence that you've been chosen to see, while others stay asleep. In Isaiah 42:16, God says, "I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. I will turn the darkness into light before them and make the rough places smooth." You see, you were never meant to fit in. You were never supposed to blend. You were born to see what others ignore and feel what others suppress. Not as a curse, but as a calling. Yes, the devil has tried to silence you. He's tried to distract you with survival. He's tried to keep you broke, confused, bitter, and quiet, because he knows the moment you step into truth, his grip on you breaks. And right now, in this moment, something is breaking. The masks are falling. The veil is tearing. The house of cards built on your back is collapsing, because truth, once revealed, doesn't just set you free. It makes you dangerous. The devil isn't afraid of your shout. He's terrified of your clarity. When your eyes open, when you finally remember who you are, when you stop waiting for permission to rise. Listen to me. You are not forgotten. You are not broken beyond repair. You are awakening. And the truth that's been buried under years of pain, bad teaching, false shepherds, and spiritual manipulation, that truth is rising. It's rising in you. Because this is the turning point, not just for your situation, but for you. Your real life, the one heaven wrote before time began, is about to begin. So breathe, stay close, let the truth settle in your bones, because from this moment on, you'll never be the same again. Something is happening right now, not out there, but in you. The veil is lifting, the illusion is fading. Light is piercing through the cracks in what has felt like a prison. The world wants you numb, distracted, entertained, but your spirit is waking up. And once you're awake, you cannot unsee what has been revealed. You are not powerless, you are not overlooked, you are not ordinary, you are chosen. But being chosen doesn't mean you've been selected for comfort. It means you've been set apart for purpose. It doesn't mean exemption from struggle. It means assignment in battle. This is not about privilege. This is about responsibility. And that weight, that pressure on your chest, that's not just emotion. That's the Spirit of God stirring something ancient inside of you, something holy, something dangerous. When Jesus called his disciples, he never said, "Come and be comfortable." He said, "If anyone wants to follow me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." Luke 9:23. Why? Because once your eyes have been opened to truth, you can no longer live as if you're blind. Once you've seen the darkness for what it is, you're not allowed to play in the shadows anymore. And the enemy knows it. He spent years, maybe even decades, trying to keep you bound in confusion, stuck in delay, and silenced by fear. Every attack, every heartbreak, every moment of weariness wasn't random. It was aimed, targeted, strategic. Because you carry something hell is terrified of. You've been marked with a calling the enemy hoped you'd never discover, but now you have. And here's where it gets even more intense. Because this awakening, it's not the end, it's the beginning. The real war doesn't start when you're in darkness. It starts when you step into the light. So if you've ever wondered why your life has felt like a constant battlefield, why every breakthrough seems just out of reach, why every step forward feels like walking through spiritual quicksand, it's because you're not fighting flesh and blood. You're not just up against bad luck or hard seasons. Scripture makes it plain in 2 Corinthians 10:4. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. This is spiritual war. And it's personal. Every morning you wake up under the weight of heaviness. That's not just depression, that's spiritual assault. And the enemy's most effective weapon? Distraction. He doesn't just fight you with fear, he numbs you with noise. Endless scrolling, shallow comfort, division. It's all designed to keep you spiritually asleep while your destiny waits. When the news leaves you empty and anxious, when fear eats away at your faith, that's not just information overload. That's psychological warfare, carefully crafted to keep your heart numb and your mind too exhausted to fight. They've turned your own thoughts against you, whispered lies through familiar voices, weaponized comfort to make you settle for survival when God created you for dominion. The most dangerous attack isn't the obvious one. It's the one that sounds like wisdom. Don't dream too big. Be realistic. This is just how life is. And sometimes it comes from the people closest to you, friends, mentors, even family, who unknowingly echo the enemy's voice. You think the enemy comes with horns and flames? Number. He comes as normalcy, as tradition, as the thing you've always trusted. But right now, God is tearing that illusion apart. He's showing you the board, revealing the moves, exposing how your steps have been manipulated to keep you spinning in circles. You've felt it, haven't you? That invisible resistance every time you move toward your purpose? That suffocating pressure that makes you want to quit just as you're breaking through? That's not your imagination. That's not weakness. That's warfare. But here's what the enemy didn't plan for. Your awakening. He counted on you staying asleep, staying distracted, staying small. But now that you see the battle for what it is, you can fight differently. You can pray with authority. You can move with clarity. You can stop using earthly weapons and step into God's arsenal. You were never meant to fight this war alone. Psalm 18:34 says, He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. Heaven has equipped you, empowered you, anointed you. This is not the end of your story. This is the unraveling of the lie. Now the question is not whether you're chosen. The question is, are you ready to live like it? Because once you've awakened, everything changes. You've been told to know your enemy, and that's important. But that's just the beginning. Because it's not enough to know what you're up against. You must know who you are. Not the version others painted, not the version trauma sculpted, but the one heaven designed before the foundations of the earth. The enemy has worked tirelessly to bury that truth beneath layers of shame, fear, and self-doubt. But today, God is unearthing it. You've walked through fire, haven't you? You've been bruised by betrayal, overlooked in rooms where you carried the most oil, laughed at by people who had no idea what God was developing in your silence. You've heard the whispers. You're finished. You missed it. It's too late. But hear me, none of it was random. The fire didn't come to consume you, it came to forge you. And out of that furnace, God has prepared 3 divine gifts. Not cheap blessings or surface-level promises, but battle-tested equipment, crafted for those who refuse to bow to deception, for the warriors, for the awakened. The first gift, clarity of mind. That fog that's been suffocating your thoughts, the confusion that's kept you circling decisions like a ship without a compass. It ends now. God is pouring out a divine clarity, supernatural discernment that cuts through deception like light through darkness. This isn't intellect. It's not book knowledge. This is the mind of Christ alive in you. You'll begin to hear a voice say, "That's not of me," even before the lie is spoken. You'll feel unease around flattery. You'll sense truth where others are distracted by noise. People around you will ask, "How did you know?" And you won't be able to explain it, because some revelations come only from heaven. You'll begin to see through agendas. You'll recognize false leadership dressed in charisma. You'll perceive manipulation behind smiles. Because God is sharpening your vision for the days ahead. The second gift, understanding of your mission. No more wandering in circles, no more asking, "What's my purpose?" The answer has been there all along, hidden beneath layers of insecurity and delay. God is about to drop a revelation so clear it will reframe your entire past. You'll look back on your trials and suddenly they'll make sense. The heartbreak, preparation, the loss, redirection, the silence, training, think you're too old. Noah was building arks while others were retiring. Think your past disqualifies you? Rahab was a prostitute, yet her faith placed her in the lineage of Christ, proving that grace rewrites legacy. Your purpose isn't fading, it's ripening. When this mission is revealed, it won't come with confusion. It will hit your spirit like a strike of lightning. You will know. The third gift, supernatural strength and divine guidance. This isn't hype. It's not motivational fluff. This is the same resurrection power that rolled the stone away from Jesus' tomb, now filling your mortal body with divine endurance. It's the strength that filled Paul to preach in prison, beaten, bloodied, yet unbroken. It's strength that transcends emotion. It anchors you in truth when the winds howl hardest. You'll wake up lighter, walk steadier, speak bolder. Angels will be dispatched before your feet hit the floor. Not because you earned it, but because you're aligned. Opportunities will appear that make no earthly sense. Conversations in grocery aisles, prophetic moments in coffee shops. God will orchestrate divine appointments like chess pieces falling into place. The right person, the right moment, the right word. Not luck, not coincidence. Heaven's timing. These three gifts, clarity, purpose, and power, are not random blessings. They are spiritual weapons, forged in the fire of everything you've survived. Every sleepless night tempered your resolve. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. Every unanswered prayer built endurance in your spirit. These weren't delays, they were deposits. And now, heaven is making a withdrawal. This awakening is not the finish line, it's the starting gate. Now that your eyes are open, what will you do next? Will you rise, speak, and move with divine clarity? Heaven is watching to see what you carry forward, but make no mistake, gifts must be received. They don't force themselves. God isn't looking for spectators, He's raising up warriors. And receiving these gifts comes with something most won't expect. A warning. The more awake you become, the more unsettling the world will feel. What used to entertain you will now disturb you. What once comforted you will now convict you. That's not depression, that's discernment. That's heaven separating you from what was never meant to hold you. And here's the twist the enemy never saw coming. The very darkness sent to destroy you has activated you. The confusion made you seek truth. The pain made you hungry for God's presence. The silence trained your ears to hear whispers others ignore. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. Right now, as the systems of this world collapse, religion without power, politics without integrity, culture without moral compass, something holy is rising. A remnant, a royal priesthood, a generation not defined by age or title, but by fire-tested faith and heaven-forged purpose. This new kingdom isn't built in marble cathedrals or political halls. It's rising in homes, in hearts, in the lives of the unseen, the faithful, the ones who didn't quit, the ones who kept praying, the ones who whispered yes in their darkest hour. And you, yes, you, are part of it. You're not behind. You're not too broken. You're not too late. You are precisely on time. The world needs voices that cannot be bought, hearts that cannot be hardened, eyes that cannot be deceived. It needs you, not the filtered version, but the forged version. The version that's been through hell and still worships. The version that knows the sound of God's voice in the middle of chaos. You're not the only one awakening. Across the globe, others are feeling the same stirring, hearing the same whisper. You're part of a rising remnant, a sacred community chosen to carry light into the darkest places. You are not alone in this. A world is being born even now, a world where truth is restored, where justice rolls like rivers, where the chosen stand not as victims but as vessels. That world isn't a dream. It's a promise. And you, chosen one, are its midwife. You thought your prayers were unanswered. You assumed your tears had gone unnoticed. You believed your silence meant heaven had gone quiet. But the truth is far more powerful and more unsettling. God heard every word, even in silence. Nothing was ignored. Every tear you cried behind closed doors was collected, recorded in the hands of a Father who never missed a moment. Psalm 56 verse 8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Nothing was lost. Nothing was wasted. And every time you felt forgotten, you weren't being forsaken, you were being positioned. Here's the truth the enemy never wanted you to see. You were never meant to live small. You were never meant to blend in, to shrink yourself into silence, to fade into the background while the world decays. That quiet ache in your soul, the one that told you there's more than this, that was the sound of your calling growing louder. You were born to stand when others fall, to speak when the world goes silent, to lead, not in comfort, but in conviction, to rise, not despite the storm, but because of it. Your greatest assignment is not behind you. It's not buried in missed opportunities or past mistakes. It's ahead of you, waiting for your courage to match your calling. The truth is, the version of you that used to settle, that used to question your worth, that used to doubt your voice, that version is gone. That old self died in the fire of adversity. The you that's emerging now, that's the one God has been forming all along. You were born for such a time as this. If you've ever wondered why your journey has been relentless, why the battles came out of nowhere, why you've had to fight for peace others seem to take for granted, this is your answer. Because you were never called to blend in. You were designed to stand out. The enemy has studied you, targeted you, resisted you. The weight you carry is why darkness noticed you. Because your breakthrough isn't just about you, it's about everyone your breakthrough will unlock. Your deliverance is contagious. Your awakening is catalytic. You are a trigger point for a spiritual chain reaction. That's why the storm hit the way it did. It wasn't random, it was calculated. But here's the revelation hell never accounted for. Storms don't destroy chosen ones. They reveal them. Look around. The world is shaking. Nations in uproar, families splintered, leaders collapsing. And yet, somehow, you're still here. Still standing, still seeking. That's not survival. That's divine preservation. This is the hour of unveiling. And as the fog lifts, truth is rising like the dawn. Bright, searing, undeniable. The same truth that once disturbed you is now setting you free. And the world you once knew, it's fading, because a new kingdom is breaking in. And you, yes you, are not a bystander to this moment. You are heaven's answer. You are the vessel God prepared in obscurity. The very one the enemy tried to discredit, delay, and destroy, now carrying the torch for a generation gasping for light. Every delay was strategy. Every setback was set up. Every crushing moment wasn't meant to end you. It was meant to equip you. The silence you misread as absence was actually God laying foundation, because some things are too precious to rush. And when you felt most surrounded by darkness, when spiritual attacks came without warning, when heaviness pressed on you before your feet touched the ground in the morning, it wasn't your imagination. It was a war in the unseen, and you were its focal point. Because your name isn't just known on earth, it's written in heaven, etched in the book of those who overcome. And those forces that came against you, they didn't attack because of your weakness. They attacked because they recognized your assignment. But now the curtain is pulled back. The truth is exposed. And what once seemed like chaos is now revealing its order. You were being trained, not tormented, prepared, not punished, tested, not forgotten. And now the shift begins. God is calling forth a remnant. Not the loudest, not the most polished, but the most faithful. The ones who stayed when others left. The ones who prayed when no one noticed. The ones who cried and still showed up. This kingdom move doesn't need perfection. It needs surrender. And it's being built, not on platforms, but on promises. You are not a victim of the times. You are a weapon formed for the times. Isaiah 41:15 declares, "Behold, I will make you into a new threshing sledge with sharp teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and beat them small." This isn't the end of your story. It's the unveiling of your strength. The prayers you thought were unanswered, they were building pressure, and now the dam is breaking. The tears you cried, they were watering the soil for a harvest you're about to step into. Every pushback you endured, it was proof of your positioning. So now walk forward, no longer as someone trying to survive, but as someone who has been resurrected into purpose. The light you carry is not just for you. It's for every dark place God will send you into. Because revival doesn't always begin in a stadium. Sometimes it begins in the heart of one person who refuses to be silent. So rise, not as a spectator, but as a sent one. The old world is crumbling, yes, but the kingdom you were born to inherit, it is unshakable. And it's here. Your time is now. Walk boldly, chosen one. Heaven is watching, and the world is waiting. Chosen one, if you've made it this far, it's not by accident. It's because your spirit recognizes truth when it hears it. What you've walked through wasn't just suffering, it was shaping. What felt like silence was strategy. The fire didn't come to burn you down, it came to burn off what wasn't you. Everything the enemy used to break you has become the very tool God is using to build you. And now, the truth has surfaced. You were never meant to live small, bound by systems that fear your voice. You were always meant to rise. You carry something eternal, an assignment so weighty that hell itself tried to suffocate it before you knew it existed. But you know now. And once you know, you can't go back to pretending. So, here's what I ask you to carry with you. Stay grounded in the word daily, because deception feeds on distraction. Be intentional with your time, because wasted minutes create spiritual gaps. Speak life even when you feel weary. Worship even when it's quiet. And pay attention to divine appointments. They're often wrapped in the ordinary. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. The kingdom doesn't need celebrities. It needs servants. Your life is not behind you. It's unfolding now. The awakening has begun, and the weight you feel isn't pressure to perform. It's evidence that heaven has entrusted you with purpose. Walk like you're chosen, because you are. Heaven sees you, and the earth is waiting for your obedience. Before we close this message, I want to pray with you. a breakthrough prayer drawn from the fire we've walked through together, rooted in the Word of God.